have Justin Jaynes back on the show now, who's going to be facing Carl Deaton on February the 5th for the vacant lightweight title for Total Warrior Combat. Justin, how are you?
Hey, man, doing good. Just getting out, closing on these last couple of days of training, and I'm going to go slap Carl Deaton around next weekend. After my last fight with Charles Rosa, I had nose surgery right after. So I was off for, I might have been on even 5 months. So it was a good time to physically recover. Fighting 5 times in 1 year in the UFC was a lot. That was a big mental drain. It was it took a big physical toll on me. So, like I said, I took the, 4 or 5 months off to recover from my nose surgery. I feel I'm back. I've been back into training since November, back ready to go. Weight's good, strength's good, cardio's good, man. I'm just really excited to get back in my home state of Michigan to go slap the Cretan Deaton, slap him around.
Now, obviously, you're training at one of the best gyms in the world. Has your training partners, have they changed at all, or has it been pretty much the same guys that you normally get and work with?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's in and out. When you're in Extreme Couture, the beautiful thing about Extreme Couture is we have fighters from all over the world coming in. So you never, unless you specifically only train with a couple guys or specific guys, man, I have the pleasure of training with guys, from Japan, from Ryzen, from One, Bellator, Mads Burnell coming over from Denmark. I've been putting a lot of work with him, ranked number 2 in Bellator. It's you'll never know who you're going to be able to work with when you get to Extreme Couture. So, unfortunately, I can't say that, I'm training with specific guys. I'm just with my coaching staff, Roman Isbell, Dennis Davis. Like I said, Mads Burnell has been a part of this camp. Nick Perez, who's making his professional debut a week after me. Let's see who else. Zach Thorne. I mean, the list just goes down on and on and on. And no day is the same. So I train with different people almost every day.
What makes Eric Nicksick such a great coach?
His mentality, man. I tell you what, he can make people believe in themselves that don't believe in themselves, man. And as the game's progressing, as he's getting more experience at the high level of the coaching, his techniques are getting better, his game plans are getting better, his strategy is getting better. And Eric's number one or best attribute, in my opinion, is his word of mouth, man. He knows how to get under people's skin and get them to believe in themselves, even when they don't. And, that's somebody that I look up to, in the gym that, I'll go to for advice because he really, he knows how to get a fire going. Listen to him in between rounds, the Francis Ngannou fight, like listen to him, getting Francis's head is how they've been there and been in these bad situations together and how they're going to battle out. And it's one thing that, I can say that he's an expert at is getting people motivated.
I'm glad you mentioned Francis because I did want to ask you, there was obviously, Francis made it crystal clear after the fight that he hurt his knee, in training a few weeks before the big title fight. Did you guys know that? Is that something that they keep quiet, leading into the fight? And did you see Francis working on his wrestling and these other parts of his game more? Because I think a lot of people were really surprised to see him, show that aspect of his game and not go in there and throw heat.
It's funny because I was just talking to Eric this morning about it, maybe 2 hours ago, not probably an hour ago, around noon. His knee was, he had a knee injury a while back. They talked about pulling out. I mean, a lot of the close knit guys knew about the knee injury. But I'll tell you what, he didn't wrestle very much in his camp. You know what I mean? With this knee injury, it was concerning to the team that, is he going to be able to wrestle? Is he going to be able to move correctly? And, he turned everyone on to his wrestling, and he was able to beat a very, one of the best fighters in the world, in a way that he's never won before. We've seen Francis knock out some of the baddest guys in the world, but we've never seen him out wrestle. And, he took him to the ground and, he broke Gane. If you looked in between the rounds, another thing, Eric comes into the ring and he's pointing out to Francis that Gane's broken, man. He's taken down, he's grinded out, and again, Eric reiterating that he's broken, rejuvenates Francis to get him motivated, to get him to keep applying the pressure, keep taking him down, keep beating him up. And it worked. It worked out awesome. I'm so happy for the gym. I'm so happy for Eric. I'm so happy for Francis. He's one of the most humble guys I've ever met. You couldn't ask for a better guy to be in the position Francis is in.
If you had to place a bet as to what is next for him, obviously he's having surgery, he's going to be out a little while, but do you think that he's going to eventually re-sign with the UFC, defend his belt, or do you think he's going to go chase, mega money boxing matches with, Tyson Fury or whoever else it may be?
Honestly, at this state, I guess it's just going to have to depend on how his knee surgery goes. Like, this is a serious injury. This is seriously something that could affect him long term. And, he doesn't want to go out and tarnish his reputation as UFC champ, jumping back into UFC with, possible, knee injury going forward, even after the surgery. Personally, I think if he can get, millions and millions to go box, I mean, if it was me, I'm going to take that. He's arguably the best heavyweight of all time. His knockouts speak for themselves. Now his wrestling is coming along. I mean, if it was me, I'd be trying to take care of my knee and maybe dabble in boxing and make 10 or 20 million.
It's going to be interesting to see what is next for the UFC heavyweight champ. Let's talk about your career. Obviously, last time we saw you inside of the octagon, you had that split loss to Charles Rosa. I got to be honest, man. Like, I feel like it could have easily gone your way. Did you agree with that decision? Do you feel like you did enough to win, or do you feel like the judges got it right?
No, I didn't think they got it right, especially Adelaide Bird saying 30-27. Here's the thing, I can understand why it went the way it did. I don't agree with it, but I can see it from a perspective standpoint. But I look at it as like we're in a fist fight. Charles Rosa, although he controlled position in the second round, there was never at any point he had me in any trouble at all, physically. You know what I mean? He didn't have me. He never had me rocked. He never had me in any close submissions. We laid around in the second round in a boring kind of just position. And and that's kind of where I feel I won the fight. Like, I rocked him a couple of times. I cracked him in the first round. It doesn't matter what I think. What matters is what the judges think, I guess. And then the third round, again, I rocked him again. I took him down, which looking back was a mistake. But then even when I took him down, I had him in a very, very tight side choke that he wasn't unfortunately he was able to fight out of. But again, I was looking for finishes the whole fight. I felt Charles was coasting through. I felt he was surviving. And, like I said, he was getting some position holds. But again, I never felt in danger in that fight. And that's kind of what it comes down to. I was trying to finish the fight from the first round to the third round. And I felt he just was coasting for position. And, he's a decision winner, man. He has a whole bunch of wins by split decision. It's one thing I take my hat off to Charles Rosa is he finds ways to win. Like I said, I wasn't hurt. I wasn't ever in any danger in the fight. I feel I had him hurt a bunch. I feel I'd had him in danger a couple times, again, trying to finish the fight while he was coasting. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think, what anybody else thinks but the judges.
Yeah. And ultimately you ended up getting released from the UFC. How difficult was that, man? Because every fighter that I talked to, the goal is to get to the UFC, right? Stay there, win, chase the title. Like, what was that like for you mentally, to have that news broken to you and now, work your way on the regional scene back up to, I assume, which your goal is to be back in the UFC.
Yeah, for sure, man. I had a belt offer from Bellator. They want to bring me in a short notice in December, and they were going to give me a couple fights after that. But, I moved out to Vegas and, I came out here in 2009 and my goal was to get to the UFC and I ideally wanted to end my career in the UFC. Getting cut. I mean, it sucks, man. It's like going from, I'm literally getting paid 10% now of what I was getting paid in the UFC. I'm making 20 grand in the UFC and now I'm making $2,000 fighting for a regional title, which, honestly, I'm very appreciative of the TWC, the WXC, and all the local regional promotions that have supported me through the years. But I'm not thrilled about going back to the regional circuit. But, unfortunately, I could jump like right into Bellator or maybe into Ryzen right away and, stay in the bigger circuit. But with that being said, if I do that, the chance of me going back to the UFC is slim to none. I want one more contract with the UFC. I want, a couple more fights. Battle out another contract. I'm going on to my third contract, or my next contract will be my third contract for the UFC. And however that plays out, whether I continue there or if I blunder and fail out again, at least I got back to the UFC. And getting back's tough, man. It's not an easy task. Most fighters get there, they hit their goal and then they move on. Me, I'm going all the way back to the bottom, scraping at the bottom, making $2,000 to fight, to have, to relive my dream. I had a great moment in the UFC, in my debut, but then my next three fights were short notice against very, very tough guys. And that's kind of the only thing that bothers me the most about how it went in the UFC is, all my fights were short notice, excluding the Charles Rosa fight. That's really the only time in my whole career that I've been given a full proper camp to get down to weight. There's some things I'd like to do different, better, things that I could do better, now going forward. But, I just want another real opportunity in the UFC, and I'm going to keep scratching at the bottom of the barrel till I find it.
I mean, this title fight here for TWC is at 155. Is that the weight class moving forward? Would you ever consider going up one way or the other?
Oh, I'll fight at 145, 155, 170, but it has to be worth my while. Again, when I cut to 145, it's taking years off my life, essentially. I mean, it's a very, very hard cut. I remember the first time I made 145 on 3-week notice. I'd never made it ever in my whole career. Sean Shelby called up. He said, we got to fight in 3 weeks or in 4 weeks against Gavin Tucker. Can you make weight? And it's like, probably not, but I'll give it my best. And I remember during the weight cut, I was crying like a little bitch. My coaches are, man, it was just so miserable. It's stuff that nightmares are made of. And then the Charles Rosa fight, it was a lot better, but still it took me 12 hours to make weight. I started at 8 p.m. and I didn't weigh in until 8 a.m. the next morning. Like this is not an easy task. So if and when I do go down to 145, it has to be a big money fight. I'm not doing it for $2,000. I won't do it for less than 5 figures.
What's the heaviest you get nowadays?
I usually walk like 175, 180. If I'm like really heavy, would be 180.
Okay. And obviously this TWC title fight, you're not locked into like a multi-fight deal, right? This is a one-fight deal, and then you're going to be able to decide what you're going to do after this title fight, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So the TWC is, again, it's a promotion that I've been a part of. I was the TWC champ for a long time. Before I was the TWC champ, Kevin Lee, you may have heard of him, coming up for his Eagle FC. He was the TWC champ. When he went to the UFC, I fought for it. I won it. And then I fought Troy Lamson at the time, was 7-0 as a pro, 25-0 overall, beat him 50-45. And then when I got signed to the UFC, I vacated it out. And now I'm going to go grab it back, take it right back home.
All right. And when you look at Bellator, I mean, that's another big promotion. If you did have to go there, next, I mean, how do you feel you stack up with the guys that are at 155 there?
Oh man, Bellator is such a great promotion. Now, by me saying that I turned down a Bellator contract, that's not a knock to them. Bellator is an incredible promotion. They have world-class athletes. I trained Jeremy Kennedy, 145, world-class athlete. Mads Burnell, 145, world-class. These guys can compete in the UFC. I'm not saying that the UFC has harder or stiffer competition. I think all the PFL, Bellator, Ryzen, they all have, great athletes that can compete against each other. But, when I moved to Vegas, my whole goal was to get to the UFC and stay there. I fought for Bellator. I'm 1-0 in Bellator. I had a first round knockout in Bellator back in like 2016. They never called me back. So I'm kind of salty about that a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I asked him, I was like, hey, look, like I just knocked Ruben Bariak out in, fucking 2 minutes. Like what's next? They're like, oh, it's a single fight deal. We'll let you know if we have any. I was like, oh, that's kind of fucked up. So now they offer me, hey, you want to fight? It's like, nah, I'm gonna sit this one out. But I could see my career going that way. Again, primary goal is to get back to the UFC. If I end in Bellator, that's fine. I would be totally content with that. But I want to make sure I'm getting paid to do it.
Yeah, very, very well said. All right, so the lightweight title May 7th was announced. Gaethje Oliveira. Who do you see winning that one?
Man, you know what? That's a great matchup. Gaethje. Here's the thing. I feel Khabib really exposed Gaethje for some of his weaknesses. Being a Division I college wrestler, I expected a little bit more out of him against Khabib. But with the same thing, Oliveira is going to try and take him down and grapple and grapple fuck him like he did Poirier. I can see Justin knocking him out, but I think the edge I'm giving to Oliveira. I think he submits him on his back.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting fight. All right, Carl Deaton, he's 15-5, so very respectable record. You're going back to Michigan for this fight, so I'm assuming you're going to have a lot of people there to support you. How do you like this matchup? I assume you like it a lot for yourself.
Well, I like the matchup a lot. Carl, I don't like the guy personally. He was training at Extreme Couture for the last year. Him and I shared the same coach. And, he did some stupid shit. He got kicked out of the gym and immediately turns around and thinks he found a chink in my armor and challenges me to a fight. I don't take that. I find that very, very disrespectful. We've been training together for the last year, again, having the same coaching staff. But as for the matchup, Carl's a super tough dude. He just had a split decision loss in the PFL. man, it's going to be an exciting fight. This is a UFC caliber fight at the regional circuit, and that's kind of like the shitty part is we're going to fucking try and take years off each other's lives by punching each other in the face, and we're not even getting paid to do it hardly. So that, you know, it's a tough matchup, man. You know, the game plan's the same as it always is. Hit him first and hit him harder than he hits me, because I know he's going to hit me. I know he wants to hurt me. You know, he's made up this fake story about how I'm this fucking asshole. I don't really understand how he's done it, but he has. And you know, he's motivated, man. This is his chance. He gets to knock off a UFC vet. With that being said, I'm no slouch, and I plan to knock him off first.
Is this a fight that's going to play out on the feet, or do you feel like you guys are going to hit the mats at all?
No, I actually think it's going to be a phone booth style fight. I think he's going to try and walk me down, and I'm going to try and walk him down. And again, it's just going to, whoever lands the harder shots first. And, you know, again, and that's what bothers me. Like him and I trained together for the last year, and for him to deliberately call me out means to me that he thinks that he found a chink in my armor. There's a lot of things I'm good at. There's a couple things I'm not good at. And he thinks he can expose the things I'm not good at. He's going to have a rough time coming. I mean, win or lose, this is going to be a brawl, and he's going to get hurt.
So official prediction, how do you get your hand raised?
I'm going to finish Carl Deaton in the second round.
Okay. Can't wait. February 5th, vacant lightweight title, Total Warrior Combat, Justin Jaynes, Carl Deaton. Justin, always a pleasure talking to you, my man. Before I let you go, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media. And if you have anyone to thank, the floor is yours.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you. You know, I just want to give a shout out to all my coaches and coaching staff. Dennis Davis, been there since 2009. Roman Isbell, you know, been in and out of the gym every single day, making sure I'm ready for this. The whole team at Extreme Couture, you know, bringing together, trying to get me remotivated. Mads Burnell coming in, whooping my ass day in and day out. Jeremiah over at Self Equipment, one of my sponsors and good friends, keeping me afloat financially, helping me stay afloat financially. My girlfriend, who's been nothing but supportive for this fight. My family, everybody from Vegas. I have probably almost a dozen to 15 people flying in from Vegas to come to Michigan to support me, because you win or lose, even if I win, this could be my last fight in my home state. Even if I get back to the UFC doesn't plan on going back to Detroit anytime soon. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to fight in front of my family and compete in front of my friends and family and everybody. As for social media, Justin Jaynes on Facebook. On Instagram, it's JAY09MI, and Twitter's Justin Jaynes MMA.